Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, your dreams and aspirations lying on the other side of a seemingly impossible gap. That's exactly where I found myself 15 years ago, staring at an opportunity that seemed far beyond my reach. I had no connections, no resources, and according to conventional wisdom, no chance of success. The voices around me whispered, actually they shouted, that I was reaching too high, dreaming too big, and setting myself up for devastating failure. But here's the question that changed everything for me, and it's the same question I pose to you today. What's really stopping you? Not the excuses you've memorized, not the limitations you've accepted, but what is genuinely, fundamentally preventing you from taking that first step toward your dreams? In my years of working with people from every walk of life, from entrepreneurs to artists, from students to CEOs, I've discovered a universal truth that's both liberating and challenging. The only real obstacle between you and your potential is the story you've accepted about what's possible. Every single person in this room, every individual reading these words carries within them a seed of greatness. This isn't motivational rhetoric. This is a fundamental truth about human potential. You were designed with capabilities that you haven't even begun to tap into. Your brain, your body, your inherent creativity, they're all waiting to be unleashed toward a purpose that only you can fulfill. The tragedy isn't in trying and failing. It's in never mustering the courage to try at all. Let's talk about excuses. Those comfortable, familiar stories we tell ourselves that somehow make it okay to stay exactly where we are. Excuses are fascinating things. They're like invisible chains that we not only wear willingly, but often forge ourselves link by link, day by day. An excuse is nothing more than a well-packaged lie we present to ourselves, wrapped in the convincing paper of logic and tied with the ribbon of self-preservation. Think about this. When was the last time you said, I can't because... Was it really that you couldn't, or was it that you wouldn't? There's a profound difference between the two. One speaks to genuine impossibility, the other speaks to personal choice. The comfort zone, that deceptively cozy place where we feel safe and unchallenged, is actually the most dangerous place you can live. It's dangerous because it's a breeding ground for excuses, a fertile soil where limitations grow wild and unchecked. Let's break down the three major categories of excuses that keep people anchored to mediocrity. First, we have external circumstances, the I don't have excuses. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right connections. I don't have enough time. These are the excuses that place the power somewhere outside of ourselves, conveniently absolving us of responsibility for our situation. Then there are the internal limitations, the I'm not good enough category. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not experienced enough. These are perhaps the most insidious because they attack our very identity, our sense of self-worth. They're the whispers of self-doubt that have become so familiar we mistake them for truth. Finally, we have the past experiences, the I failed before excuses. These are the scars from previous attempts that we allow to define our future possibilities. One failure becomes proof that we're destined to fail again. One rejection becomes evidence that we're not meant to succeed. One setback becomes the reason to never try again. But here's what's fascinating about excuses. They have no power except the power we give them. They're not facts, they're interpretations. They're not walls, they're windows we've convinced ourselves are walls. Every excuse you hold on to is like a vote for your own limitation. Every time you choose to believe an excuse, you're choosing to shrink your world, to reduce your possibilities, to dim your potential. Think about the most successful people you know or have read about. Did they have fewer obstacles than you, or did they just refuse to turn those obstacles into excuses? Did they have more resources, or did they just refuse to let limited resources become their limitation? The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't the absence of obstacles, it's their response to those obstacles. Let's talk about something that few people consider, the real cost of not trying. We're often so focused on the potential cost of failure that we completely overlook the devastating price we pay for never making the attempt at all.
This isn't just about missed opportunities. It's about the compound interest of regret.
Think about this mathematically for a moment. Every time you choose not to try, you're not just losing one opportunity. You're losing all the potential branches that would have grown from that single attempt. It's like a decision tree, where every no cuts off not just one branch, but an entire future of possibilities. Let me make this concrete for you. If you don't start that business today, you're not just losing potential revenue. You're losing the partnerships that could have formed, the lives you could have impacted, the innovations you could have sparked, and the legacy you could have built. The ripple effect of not trying extends far beyond your own life. Consider this. Your decision to hold back doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone who could have benefited from your courage to step forward. That book you're not writing, someone out there needs those words to change their life. That invention you're not pursuing, there's a problem in the world waiting for exactly that solution. That business you're not starting, there are people who need the unique value only you can provide. But let's dive deeper into the psychological impact of habitual non-trying. Every time you choose not to try, you're programming your brain with a dangerous message. I am someone who backs down. This isn't just about missing one opportunity. It's about gradually eroding your self-image. Your self-esteem takes a hit not from failing, but from never even stepping into the arena. It's a slow poison that seeps into every aspect of your life, teaching you to settle for less than what you're capable of achieving. Dreams don't just die dramatically. They fade away through neglect. Each time you postpone action, each time you choose comfort over courage, your dreams lose a little of their luster. The passion that once burned bright begins to dim. The vision that once seemed so clear becomes fuzzy around the edges. And here's the truly heartbreaking part. Over time, you start to convince yourself that you never really wanted those dreams anyway. It's a form of psychological self-defense, protecting yourself from the pain of acknowledging what you've given up. The habit of settling is perhaps the most expensive habit you can develop. When you consistently choose not to try, you're not just affecting individual decisions. You're shaping your entire approach to life. You begin to rationalize mediocrity. You become an expert at explaining why things won't work, instead of finding ways to make them work. Your world gradually shrinks to fit your shrinking expectations. And then there's the future regret factor. Research shows that at the end of life, people regret not the failures they experienced, but the chances they never took. They regret the words they never spoke, the risks they never took, the dreams they never pursued. Think about that. On your last day, will you be more haunted by the times you tried and failed, or by the times you failed to try at all? The mathematics of missed opportunities is cruel. Unlike a bank account where you can see your balance declining, the cost of not trying often remains hidden until it's too late. But make no mistake, every moment of hesitation, every excuse accepted, every challenge avoided is withdrawing from your account of potential, depleting your reservoir of possibility. Let's delve into something extraordinary, the science of human capability and what it reveals about your true potential. The human brain, your brain, is perhaps the most underutilized asset in existence. Modern neuroscience has shown us something remarkable. Your brain is not fixed. It's constantly evolving, growing, and adapting. This concept, known as neuroplasticity, means that you literally become more capable with every step you take outside your comfort zone. Consider this. Scientists have discovered that when you attempt something new, your brain creates new neural pathways. Every time you push your boundaries, every time you face a challenge, you're not just accomplishing a task. You're physically rewiring your brain for greater achievement. You're not just who you are, you're becoming who you choose to be with every decision, every action, every attempt. The adaptive mechanisms of human potential are nothing short of miraculous. Think about athletes who break records that were once considered the absolute limit of human capability. Consider entrepreneurs who create solutions that experts said were impossible. These aren't superhumans. They're regular people who understood something crucial about potential. It expands with use. The more you demand from yourself, the more you discover you're capable of. Success pattern studies across different fields
reveal a fascinating truth. Achievement is not about inherent ability as much as it is about consistent, purposeful effort. Research shows that what we often attribute to talent is actually the result of focused, persistent action. This means that your potential isn't some fixed quantity you're born with. It's more like a muscle that grows stronger with use.
Now let's talk about the power of decision, that critical moment when everything changes. There's a phenomenon I've observed repeatedly. Transformation doesn't happen gradually. It happens in moments of decision. That instant when you decide enough is enough, when you choose to stop accepting excuses, when you commit to a new direction, that's when everything begins to shift. A decision is not just a thought, it's a catalyst for change. When you truly decide, not just wish, hope, or want, but decide with every fiber of your being, you set in motion forces that begin to reshape your reality. Your brain starts filtering information differently. Opportunities you never noticed before suddenly become visible. Resources you didn't know existed begin to appear. Let me share with you a decision-making framework that I've seen transform lives. First, you need to understand that every decision has three components: clarity of desire, commitment to action, and acceptance of responsibility. Clarity means knowing exactly what you want, not what others expect, not what seems reasonable, but what you truly desire. Commitment means being willing to pay the price, to do what's necessary, even when it's difficult. Responsibility means owning both the decision and its consequences, no excuses. Think about the last time you made a real decision. Not a wish, not a hope, but a bone-deep, no-turning-back decision. Remember how different it felt? How your entire body seemed to align with that choice? That's because a true decision activates not just your mind, but your entire being. It changes not just what you do, but who you are. Your potential is not a destination, it's a direction. It's not something you reach, it's something you continuously unfold. Every time you think you've reached your limit, you've only reached a temporary plateau. There's always another level, always more to discover about what you're capable of achieving. The tragedy is that most people will never know their true potential because they stop at their first limitation, accept their first failure as final, or listen to those who tell them what isn't possible. But you sitting there right now, have within you capabilities that you haven't even begun to tap into. Your potential isn't limited by your past, your circumstances, or even your current abilities. It's limited only by your willingness to try, to learn, to adapt, and to persist. Let's tackle the real obstacles that stand between you and your goals, starting with the most common barrier people face: resource limitations. When people tell me they don't have enough resources to pursue their dreams, I always ask them, are you lacking resources or are you lacking resourcefulness? This isn't just wordplay. It's a fundamental shift in perspective that can change everything. Let me share something powerful about resources. They flow to resourceful thinking. Every major achievement in human history started with limited resources. The greatest innovations, the most successful businesses, the most impressive transformations, they all began with someone who refused to let limited resources become a limiting belief. Creative problem solving isn't about having everything you need. It's about maximizing what you have while finding alternative paths to what you don't. Consider this. If you have $100, most people immediately think about what they can't do with such a limited amount. But a resourceful thinker asks, how can I use this $100 to generate $1,000? They understand that resource maximization isn't about what you have, it's about how you use what you have. Every resource you possess, whether it's money, time, skills, or relationships, has hidden leverage potential that most people never explore. Now let's address the most paralyzing barrier of all: fear and uncertainty. Fear is interesting because it's both a protector and a prison guard. It's designed to keep you safe, but it often keeps you small. The key to managing fear isn't eliminating it. That's neither possible nor desirable. The key is understanding it and using it as data rather than letting it be your director. Here's a fear analysis technique I've developed. Take a piece of paper and draw 3 columns. In the first column, write down exactly what you're afraid of. Be specific. In the second column, write down the worst possible outcome if that fear came true. In the third column, write down 3 ways you could recover from that worst case scenario. This exercise reveals something profound. Most of our fears are survivable, and most worst case scenarios are manageable. Risk management isn't about avoiding all risks. It's about taking intelligent risks. Think about it this way. Every day you don't take action toward your goals is actually a risk. The risk of regret, the risk of unfulfilled potential, the risk of watching others achieve what you could have achieved. When you understand this, you realize that playing it safe is often the riskiest choice of all. Building courage systematically is like building any other muscle. It requires consistent exercise. Start with small challenges and gradually increase the difficulty. Each time you face a fear and take action anyway, you're not just accomplishing a task. You're building your courage capacity. Your comfort zone expands, and what once seemed impossible starts to feel manageable. Let's talk about another significant barrier: the opinion of others. How many dreams have died because someone said, "That's not realistic"? How many potential achievements have been aborted because well-meaning people advised playing it safe? Here's a truth that might set you free. Most people who tell you something can't be done are really telling you they couldn't do it. Their limitations are not your limitations. The environment you're in can either be a barrier or a bridge to your success. Look around you. Are you surrounded by people who push you to grow, or people who pull you back to average? Are your daily routines designed to move you toward your goals or keep you in your comfort zone? Environment isn't just about physical space. It's about the mental and emotional atmosphere you inhabit. Here's a practical strategy for environmental optimization. Audit your influences. What are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you spending time with? Every input either reinforces your limitations or expands your possibilities. Be ruthless in eliminating influences that feed your doubts and generous in seeking out influences that fuel your growth. Remember this: barriers are often not as solid as they appear. Many of them are simply tests of your commitment. They're not there to stop you. They're there to stop people who want it less than you do. Every barrier you face is an opportunity to prove how badly you want what you say you want. The size of your success will be determined by the size of the barriers you're willing to overcome. Don't pray for smaller barriers. Develop the strength to overcome bigger ones. Don't wish for fewer challenges. Build the capacity to handle greater ones. The barriers you face today are preparing you for the opportunities of tomorrow. Let's move from theory to practice, because knowledge without action is simply entertainment. I'm going to share with you a proven framework for turning your intentions into reality, starting with the most crucial element, the starting protocol. Here's the truth: the hardest part of any journey isn't the middle or the end. It's the first step. The first step protocol is simple but powerful. Identify one action so small that it would be embarrassing not to do it. We're talking micro steps here. Want to write a book? Start with 1 sentence. Want to build a business? Make 1 phone call. Want to transform your health? Walk for 5 minutes. The key is to make the first step so ridiculously small that your brain can't come up with a reasonable excuse not to do it. Momentum is a force that can work for you or against you. Every action you take creates momentum in a particular direction. Small actions, consistently taken, create an unstoppable force of progress. This isn't about motivation. Motivation is unreliable. This is about building momentum through systematic action. Think of it like pushing a heavy boulder. The hardest part is getting it to move initially, but once it's rolling, it becomes easier to keep it moving. Progress tracking is crucial, but not in the way most people do it. Don't just track your results, track your actions. Results can lag behind actions, and focusing too much on results can be discouraging. Instead, celebrate the completion of actions, regardless of immediate outcomes. Did you make the calls? Did you put in the work? Did you show up? These are the metrics that matter in the beginning. Now let's talk about system creation. Success isn't about sporadic bursts of effort. It's about creating sustainable systems that make success inevitable. Your daily success habits are the building blocks of your future achievements. Think about it. What you do consistently is more important than what you do occasionally. A mediocre plan executed consistently will outperform a brilliant plan executed sporadically. Here's how to build effective systems. Start with your goal and work backward. What needs to happen daily for that goal to become inevitable? Break it down into specific, measurable actions. Then create triggers for these actions. Specific times, places, or situations that will prompt your success behaviors. The key is to remove as much decision-making as possible from the equation. Don't decide every day whether to take action. Decide once and build a system around that decision. Accountability structures are vital for maintaining momentum. Find someone who will hold you to your commitments, not someone who will accept your excuses, but someone who will challenge them. Better yet, become the kind of person who keeps promises to yourself. Self-accountability is the highest form of accountability. Start small, make a promise to yourself, and keep it, no matter what. Then make another one. Build a track record of reliability with yourself. Environment optimization is about creating spaces that make success easier and failure harder. Want to exercise in the morning? Put your workout clothes next to your bed. Want to eat healthier? Remove all junk food from your house? Want to be more productive? Create a workspace that minimizes distractions. Your environment should be engineered to make your desired actions the path of least resistance. Let me share a powerful concept. The compound effect of tiny actions. Every action you take is like a vote for the person you want to become. These votes might seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate over time to create your reality. The small choice to wake up early, to make that extra call, to do one more rep, these aren't just actions, they're identity-shaping decisions. Implementation is where most plans fail. So let's be specific about execution. Create a success schedule, not just a to-do list, but a detailed plan of when and where you'll take specific actions. Block out time for your most important activities. Treat these appointments with yourself as seriously as you would treat appointments with your most important client. The key to maintaining momentum is to focus on progress, not perfection. You will have setbacks. You will have days when your actions don't meet your expectations. The crucial thing is not to let a stumble become a fall. Get back on track immediately. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, and the perfect action is the one you can take immediately. 7 real-world application, 500 words. Let me share with you some powerful real-world examples of what happens when people stop making excuses and start taking action. Consider Sarah, a single mother who started her business from her kitchen table with just $200. Everyone told her the market was saturated, she had no formal business education, and the timing was wrong. Today, her company employs 30 people and serves clients internationally. The difference? She refused to let her circumstances define her possibilities. Or take Marcus, who was told he was too old to change careers at 45. With a family to support and a mortgage to pay, conventional wisdom said he should stay in his secure but unfulfilling job. Instead, he spent 1 hour each morning learning coding before his regular job. 18 months later, he landed his first development position. Today, he leads a tech team and mentors others making similar transitions. His secret wasn't extraordinary talent, it was extraordinary persistence. Then there's the story of Eleanor, who transformed her community by starting with just one problem she wanted to solve. She saw local youth struggling with unemployment and began teaching job skills in her garage to 3 teenagers. That humble beginning has grown into a training center that has helped over 500 young people secure meaningful employment. She didn't wait for government funding or official approval. She started with what she had, where she was. These aren't just success stories. They're blueprints for what's possible when you stop making excuses and start taking action. Let's break down the common elements in these transformations. First, they all started small, but thought big. They understood that you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Second, they all faced significant obstacles, but treated them as challenges to overcome rather than reasons to quit. Third, they all built momentum through consistent action, not occasional bursts of effort. Now let's make this practical for you. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Take out a piece of paper right now. At the top, write down your biggest goal, the one that both excites and scares you. Below that, list every excuse you've been using for not pursuing it. Now, next to each excuse, write down one person who has succeeded despite facing that same obstacle. This exercise reveals a crucial truth. Your excuses are not unique and they're not unbeatable. The success of others facing similar challenges proves that your obstacles are surmountable. The question isn't whether it's possible. The question is whether you're willing to do what's necessary. Every excuse you've written down is an opportunity in disguise, an opportunity to prove that your desire for success is greater than your fear of failure. Let's create your personal action blueprint. Start by identifying the smallest possible step you can take today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Make it so small that it would be more embarrassing not to do it than to do it. Then commit to 3 larger actions you'll take this week. Remember, imperfect action beats perfect planning every time. As we come to the close of our time together, let me share something profound with you. This moment right now is a defining moment in your life, not because of what I've said, but because of what you're about to decide. Every great achievement, every remarkable transformation, every impressive success story started with a moment exactly like this, a moment of decision. You see, there are 2 types of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Right now, you have the power to choose which pain you'll carry forward. The costs of action, the time, the effort, the possibility of failure, these are temporary, but the cost of inaction, of letting your dreams slip away one excuse at a time, that's permanent. Think about where you'll be 1 year from now if you continue making excuses. Now think about where you could be if you started taking action today. The difference between these 2 futures isn't talent, circumstances, or luck. The difference is decision and action. Your potential is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. You can have the best parachute in the world, but if you never jump, it's just extra weight you're carrying around. Your dreams, your abilities, your possibilities, they're all waiting for you to have the courage to jump. So here's my challenge to you. Take action before you leave this room, before you close this book, before you end this moment. Make that call you've been postponing. Write that first page you've been dreaming about. Register for that course you've been considering. Submit that application you've been afraid to send. Do it now, not because you're ready, not because the timing is perfect, but because you've decided that your dreams are too important to wait. Remember, the world doesn't reward those who have potential. It rewards those who demonstrate it. Your time is now. Your moment is here. And there is absolutely no excuse for not trying. The question isn't can you, the question is will you. The next move is yours. Make it count.